Assalamu alaikum. This is Salman Akhtar. Today I am going to teach an important topic of A2 economics, that is market structure. Actually, I am going to give you an overview, a comprehensive overview of all the main types of market structures exist in the society. So as you know, we are going to start comparison. Basically there are 4 market structures, however there are 5 as well if we count contestable as a separate market structure. So we have perfect market structure, and in imperfect market structure we have monopoly, we have oligopoly, we have monopolistic competition, and obviously contestable is in between these two extremes, that is, it's neither perfect or nor imperfect. So that's why we say it's a contestable market. It has some features of perfect market and some features of imperfect markets. So let's start from the perfect market. These are the main features. In perfect market, number of firms is very large. There are many buyers and many sellers. Price control power, well, neither firms and nor customers. Prices are set by the equilibrium, that is according to demand and supply. Barriers to entry, there is no sunk cost. So we assume that there is if zero sunk cost, so entry exit barrier is also zero. However, the products we have in perfect competition is homogeneous product. Homogeneous means identical in all aspects, or in other words, we cannot differentiate. They are not brands. And for example, primary products like milk, like meat, like pulses, yes, we can put these examples in perfect competition. If we look at the sketch, in long run, firms producing the output will be equals to charging the price will be equals to average cost. That is, firms are having normal profits in long run. As you know that in long run, the output firms are producing is productive as well as allocative efficient, and you can see from the sketch the output Q is at a level where cost is at least point, average cost, and marginal cost is also equals to price. So we can say that in perfect competition, firms are economically efficient, that is productive and allocative. The price elasticity of demand in perfect competition is infinite, that is PD equals to infinity. It means price is highly sensitive, so it is not advisable to increase the price for a single firm. Market share, if there are so many firms, so market share must be divided among all, so it might be very less. Examples of perfect can be agriculture, stock market, as you can buy the stock of a company at same price from whatever is the broker or whoever is the broker. In short run, perfect competition may, a firm can earn abnormal profits if the cost is lower than the price. However, if it's in long run, due to increase in supply, competition increases, so firms produce at the least cost of average level, and price also falls due to increase in supply. So usually in firms in long run, there is normal profit. Efficiency I have already discussed. In real world, perfect competition does not exist. However, we can take the example of meat, milk and all these things, whereas even in these markets there are some famous brands, and if brands are there, we can't say that it's homogeneous. There is no price discrimination. Price is set by the market. Concentration ratio in market share is low. Yes, that's all. Now let's talk about monopoly. Monopoly is imperfect market. Usually in monopoly there is a single firm which we say it's a pure monopoly. However, in reality, monopoly is a firm among few firms having a greater market share. Even some economists quoted a firm among other firms having a market share of more than 25 or 40%, we can say that it's a monopoly. So a single monopoly like thing does not exist. Firms are price maker. Barriers to entry is high because initial capital investment is very high and sunk cost is also high. So we cannot say that there is no barrier to entry exit in monopolies. Yes, there is high barriers to entry and exit in monopoly. The nature of product in monopoly is differentiated on the basis of branding, packaging, or a feature which differentiate that product from the rival company. So in monopoly, the product is not homogeneous. It is differentiated product having a USP, unique selling point. There is imperfect knowledge to consumers. That's why firms try to exploit consumers by using price discrimination. If you look at the sketch of a monopoly, you can see that monopoly is producing output Q, charging the price. We can switch this, price is up and C, cost is below. So this difference is the P naught, B, C, A is abnormal profit of a monopoly. However, if monopolies are inefficient and the average cost is above price line, it means the monopoly is making loss due to inefficiency. PED. Well, price elasticity of demand in a monopoly, usually both types of elasticities exist. That's why monopoly used to make a price discrimination. Price discrimination is charging different price for the same product. If in a market there are less number of rivals and the demand for the firm monopoly is inelastic, obviously the price will be high. And if monopoly is operating in a market where there are other suppliers as well and there is a competition, so the demand is elastic, so monopoly will charge low price for that same product. This is price discrimination and it is due to the different nature of elasticity. However, my tip for the MCQ is that if it comes in an MCQ, always go for PED greater than 1. Monopoly's existence in real world. Well, pure monopoly or a single firm monopoly, it's difficult to find in reality. However, as I told you the definition, a firm among few firms which is having a greater market share, we can say that it's a monopoly. Price discrimination, I told you what is that. Firms do not depend on each other decisions. There is no collusion, and however market share is high. Let's talk about the third market structure, that is monopolistic competition. Number of firms in monopolistic competition is large. However, a firm is part of imperfect market, so they do have some power over price. Barriers might be low, but we can't say that there is zero barrier in monopolistic competition. Nature of product usually differentiated. However, if the competition intensity increases, we can say that it's homogeneous. Now look at the sketch or graph of monopolistic competition. You will see it is just like monopoly. However, the output a firm is producing, it is having a normal profit. Why it is having a normal profit? Because the abnormal profits of short run converted in normal profit in long run. Why? When more firms enter, then demand curve shifted inward. output increases, supply increases, demand of your firm shifted downward and price will fall. So in long run, in monopolistic competition, firms usually earn normal profits rather than abnormal profits. PED is elastic, highly elastic भी हम उसको कह सकते हैं, as there is competition in the market. Market share low होता है क्योंकि number of firms ज़्यादा होती हैं. लॉन्ग रन में नॉर्मल प्रॉफिट्स होता है और प्रोडक्टिव एफिशिएंसी भी किसी हद तक हो सकती है. हाउएवर इट इज़ पार्ट ऑफ इम्परफेक्ट मार्केट, तो इट डजंट गारंटी कि प्रोडक्टिव और एलोकेटिव एफिशिएंसी होगी. एलोकेटिव तो बिल्कुल भी पॉसिबल नहीं है क्योंकि एक्सेस कैपेसिटी बचती है और वेलफेयर लॉस, जिसको डेड वेट लॉस कहते हैं, वो एरिया एग्जिस्ट करता है. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट oligopoly. Oligopoly is the most realistic market structure because, as we know, the monopoly is a firm having a greater market share as compared to the other firms. So it means there are few number of firms, but a firm is having a market share, we are saying that it's a monopoly. So the situation in which there are few firms and they are operating or catering the whole market, we can say that it's a oligopoly. Oligopoly, we can take the example of cell phone producers, cosmetics, hotels, automobile industry, laptop producers. So if we look around, we will hardly find less number of firms as compared to monopolistic and perfect competition. So among these firms in an industry, for example, automobile industry. Up in automobile industry, if Toyota is having more market share, we can say that the automobile industry is oligopoly. However, Toyota is a monopoly as it has a greater market share. Oligopolies has dual nature. They sometimes collude with other firms, that is collusive behavior, and in collusive behavior there are two categories, that is price leadership and cartel. However, in non-collusive behavior, when firms do not trust each other, there is a trust deficit between them. In non-collusive behavior, we can understand the non-collusive behavior with the help of King demand curve and game theory. Okay, so now let's talk more about oligopoly. Homogeneous product, as it belongs to the same industry, however it's not as identical as I told you in perfect competition. This is kink demand curve in an oligopoly. Why it is kink? If you look at the point P, above point P it is elastic and below point P it is inelastic. So if the market or industry has a price of P naught, if among few firms a firm want to increase price, it will operate at elastic area, which is like a committing suicide, because at elastic area it is not advisable to increase price. However, if the firm reduce price, it is inelastic area, so total revenue will fall and marginal revenue will be broken. So it is better to stuck up with the industry price or the price which is set by the market in an oligopoly situation, as it is neither beneficial for any firm to increase or decrease price. Because if a single firm will try to increase price, other rivals will reduce price. However, if that firm will reduce price, they all will reduce price, and obviously if they all will reduce price, there would be no benefit of engaging in a price war. So total revenue will start to fall, that is marginal revenue will become negative, or the broken part of marginal revenue in this sketch is showing the fall in total revenue. Well, as I already told you, king demand shows dual elasticity. The upper area is elastic and the lower area is inelastic. Market share, obviously, if number of firms are less, market share would be greater. If there are more firms, market share would be less. But let me tell you one more thing. We do not recognize market structures or differentiate market structures on the number of firms, because sometimes even in oligopoly there might be many firms, and they are, instead of colluding with each other, they are having a non-collusive behavior. Sometimes the number of firms is less. So it is not advisable that to differentiate the market structure on the basis of number of firms, because if in an oligopoly the number of firms are more, they are having competition and trying to behave efficiently, having normal profits, product have become homogeneous, that mostly belongs to the same industry, then this kind of new situation is not oligopoly. Actually, it is a new market, that is contestable market. And if competition increases, automatically sunk cost reduces. So this new form of oligopoly, which might be efficient, having normal profits, and sunk cost is near zero or has reduced a lot, so that is contestable market. So these all are the 5 market structure. In this my lecture, as I told you, I am just giving you an overview. Just remember some key points. Perfect market में marginal cost is representing supply. However, in monopoly, marginal cost does not represent supply, because in monopoly a firm sometimes try to fix the price and leave the output to the market or customers, or sometimes fix output that we will sell these much units and leave the price on the market. So they cannot control both. So the supply theory is not applicable in monopoly. Do remember that. That's all from my side. I hope it will help you guys to understand market structure, and in this brief overview I tried to cover up the main points. Thank you.